Slightly different setup today. I'm in front of my plants and my dead flowers. My husband buys me a lot of flowers, and I feel sad every time I throw them out, so I let them die. Of course, Lady is right here. Cutie pie. We're just chilling out on this Saturday, but today I wanted to make a video just talking about how I built a more flexible life that a lot of jobs don't offer. I feel like I always get deals that aren't on the table because of the relationships that I've built. I literally went from like really not making any money the first 2 years of my business. I really did not do well, and I had people like take advantage of me. I loaned people money, and just it was really, really bad. But now I'm in a place where I'm doing very well for myself. I'm very happy with the money that I'm making, and a big bulk of my income comes from this one contractor position that I got. Originally, it was a job that I applied for, and I didn't even get the job, the 9 to 5 job. It was so competitive, finding marketing jobs when I first moved over here to the US. And anyone who's ever started a business, you know that when you start the business, there's a lot of times when you want to quit. It's so hard to find marketing jobs that I had to just keep on learning how to sell and all that sort of stuff. But now I have that same job that I applied for, same amount of money, way more flexibility. I work for myself. I can work from wherever I want. I have no PTO days. I can take days whenever I need to. And so I wanted to go through what the insights were that allowed me to get here and the different relationships that I've built in order to get me to this place. And for those of you who want to start building more relationships, I'm going to put my free guide on how to build relationships down in the comments, or not comments, the description. This is part of my journey to kind of teach women to get to the place where you're still able to be feminine and you're not so stressed and you're not burned out, but you're still making good money. For me, I'm very motivated by one day I want to have kids, one day I want to have a family, and I definitely want to be there for the beginning of my kid's life. And that requires flexibility, where in a corporate structure or in like a normal job, you might not have that. So again, a lot of this is like I built this through my relationships. Um, but in the US, there's a lot of pressure to work more, earn more, and keep going. And I just want to show you that if you could start now, there is another way. It might take you a little bit to get there. So, especially if you do have a corporate job, this might be something where you sacrifice a little bit on the side before you build it up enough to be able to create that flexibility for yourself. And this all kind of started with, what I kind of felt internally as wanting to stay home with my kids. But I read something that really stuck with me, which is that 60% of moms would choose to stay home in the early years if they could. Kids really rely on those first 3 years for the moms wanting to be there. And that's literally not to shame anyone who isn't able to make that decision, because it's so difficult in America. It's literally designed to keep both people working. So I want to help women, like you watching this, get to the place where you're working, you're adding to the household isn't suffering because you're not able to contribute financially. Um, but you're also able to have your flexibility. I feel like I'm very lucky where if we needed to, I could just rely on my husband's income, but probably wouldn't have the life that I wanted or the life that my kids wanted to have at this present moment. He's always growing, he's always doing better, but I want to help support too. That's just me personally. I want to help build a life. So I've been kind of yapping about my why for 3 minutes, but like I said, my free resource is going to be in the description. But this all started where I was in the C-suite of a startup. And so I went to an accelerator program and I met a mentor there. And this mentor, I did something free for him, which is a huge part of building relationships. I do a lot of free things initially. I've just learned to be more boundaried around it. But he really liked my work. And from then, he's been a really great referral source. And so this job that I had originally applied for, I got in the door in an agency side because of him, and then it just transitioned where they really like my work, and now I'm working the contractor role. And so a lot of getting these roles and getting these opportunities, showing people how good you are in the first place. Getting through the door is the hardest part. And honestly, as someone who's 27, there aren't a lot of 27-year-olds in the room. It's mostly older people, and that's great because people who are older generally tend to have more money, so it's a better fit. And I am naturally like a 40-year-old woman, so it really works out well for me. But I really go to a lot of networking events. Even though I do digital marketing, it's the best place for me to meet my ideal customer because they're older, so they have money. They also I can make the biggest improvements in their digital marketing a lot of time. A lot of times they have nothing. So I go and meet my ideal customer where they're at. So if you're watching this and you don't know how to start networking, just start going to different events. You know, I closed my first 100K of contracts by just going to 2 networking events a week, doing 3 sales calls every single week. It was like sales new intro call, I would call it. Like I would either get coffee or do a sale. And then I would do something free for an existing client or for someone who I thought could be a client. And I did that every week for 12 weeks. It was based off the 12-week year. It was hugely helpful for me. And I built so many relationships, and then I ended up closing a lot of business. And it just grew from there. It literally just kept growing from there. I'm in another stint of my 12-week year. But as long as you stay consistent in the approach that you take, you're going to be good. But I'm telling you, like, as someone who is younger, if you're younger as well, there are not a lot of young people in the room willing to talk, not socially awkward, and also willing to be generous and give at a young age. Like me, even when I didn't have a lot of money, I would still be generous. And that's just because that's my values. That's who I want to be. I'm like, if I can't do it now, I'm not going to be able to do it later either. It's like God trusts more with those who can be trusted with very little, get trusted with more. So that was kind of the approach I went with that. But even if you don't have a lot right now, go be generous, go in person, speak. And like I said as well, this is the third time I said it, I really want you to go check out my networking guide because it's completely free. You don't even have to put your email in. I just built this for a past version of myself with all the knowledge that I have now, because I wish that I knew that it could be better than like a 9-to-5 corporate. I feel very fulfilled, not tired. I feel like if I lost any part of my income, it wouldn't be the end of the world because I have so many different streams of income coming in. Like I just feel like I built something that is going to be sustainable for me in the long term. Is because I learned the skills to sell and market myself and to build those relationships that are going to pay off long term. It's not going to happen overnight, but hopefully these tips help you get there and get you on your way to being able to have that freedom that you want when your kids come into the picture.